All right, everybody, it looks like it's about that time, so I'm going to go ahead and get things started. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining this month's consulting webinar. My name is Stephen Kreutzfeldt. I'm a business process consultant here with CDI. I'm going to be taking you through today's topic, which is configuring quick searches. So first of all, today's webinar is going to be a build-along. And if this is your first time joining us, a build-along is an interactive experience. It's designed to guide the viewer through the creation and deployment of a common business process. So what that means for you is that if you're following along, by the time we finish this, you'll actually have in this case, an actual list of some saved searches that you can use and utilize within your own Laserfiche environment. If at any point you have any questions or need help, you can post those questions into the chat box at any time, and I'll do the best I can to monitor that, and then we'll have some time set aside at the end of the broadcast to go over those, and I'll answer any questions you may have at the end. Also, in order to get the most out of today's webinar, take good notes first and foremost. Don't be afraid to ask any questions that come up. Like I said, just post those right into the chat box. And there will be a survey afterwards. We do take all those answers very seriously. We like to make sure that we're offering the best content, and any advice you have for making these better, certainly let us know. We'd be more than happy to accommodate. And of course, this will be recorded. So if you want to go back and visit that later, we can post a link. It will be in the CDI's YouTube channel. And also there are individual sessions available as well. So today's process is going to be customizing quick searches. The intended audience for today's webinar would be novice to advanced Laserfiche repository users, as well as anyone who just may be interested in what the search capabilities are in Laserfiche and what sets the search capabilities aside from maybe other programs. So first off, what is a quick search? In a nutshell, Laserfiche Quick Search allows you to quickly perform a search for either document text, entry names, fields, and annotation text, all without actually leaving the folder browser. To help you follow along, we're going to start by looking at how to use Quick Search in Laserfiche. Then we'll create a couple of custom quick searches. And then finally, I'll show you how you can save those and then utilize them later. With that, let's go ahead and get this going. So many of you may recognize this. We are in the Laserfiche Thick client, the repository. And what we're talking about today is this field right up here. This is the quick search. And I like to think of it as sort of a little Google search for my repository. So there is, of course, the ability to go in and do a more advanced search, which we will utilize a little bit later. But if you're just looking to grab some quick information, like maybe you want to find all of your invoices really quickly, this is great for doing that. So at this point, what I've done is just typed in a basic invoices, brought in some information, and it's going to be looking based off of some information like fields. But we can customize what it is we're looking for and what type of content we want to have pulled back from the quick search. So this is really where we're going to get things started. When we're going through quick search, are we looking for document text, something that's actually within the document within Laserfiche, or are we looking for the entry name? Entry name, of course, is referring to the name of the folder, or if we're looking for documents, the name of the document. It'll pull back either one of those. Search fields is going to actually be metadata. So if you have a metadata template assigned to each of your documents and you want to find a specific field like that, that's where we're going to pull those back. And annotations are going to be things like tags, sticky notes, stamps, things of that nature. So let's first of all talk about some of the other capabilities. Depending on what your default settings are, it's either going to pull back all of the information. Here, I'm actually going to start with entry names here to keep it light. It's either going to pull back all of your information, or it's only going to pull back partial information depending on how we have some of these things set up. So if we go to our tools and into options, there are a couple of selections that we will need to make before we can really utilize this. The first one's going to be within the search option. So do we want make sure that we're finding partial matches when performing basic searches in quick search. And that's under the search and general. So if that's selected, that basically adds as, if you're used to using like wildcards, it'll add wildcards on either side of that. So it's going to pull back everything that's partial. The other option is going to be fuzzy search. Now, fuzzy search is referring to, have you ever Googled something and Google says in the nicest way possible, did you mean to search for this? Or pulling back information on and data on all of the searches that are close to what you searched for, but maybe corrected a couple of spelling errors. That's what this is doing. So fuzzy search can either say, based on a specific percentage of a word, we're going to pull back everything that's really close. I think this defaults at 80, but personally, I would either put it at about 85 or 90. Otherwise, it's going to start pulling back some information that's really not even close to what you're looking for whatsoever. And also another good way to use this would be just the basic number of letters. So if you want to, maybe I was looking for everything with my name, Stephen, and I accidentally spelled it S-T-E-P-P-E-N. It'll recognize that I'm still looking for that. So these are some of the options that you can utilize when configuring what type of information you're going to be searching for and what's actually going to come back. Another thing that we'll want to do is look at new documents here. So once again, we're in Tools, Options. If we look at new documents, we can see that we are always generating searchable text. So that's in New Documents and Settings. You want to make sure you're generating searchable text if you want to be able to actually search by the text field or this text option in quick search. If it's not OCRing or generating that searchable text, then you won't be able to find that. So once we have all of these in place, that's when we can really start utilizing the quick search. So let's see how powerful this is and some of the things that we can do with it. First off, you saw me search for invoices. If I search for just invoice, it'll pull back everything that has the name invoice contained in it. Invoices, invoice, and you'll notice it's also pulling back documents as well as folders. That can also even go a little bit deeper. If we just type in voice, because we have that setting set up that it'll pull back everything, even partial words, it's finding everything that has the word voice within it. So you've got some flexibility that way. If you want to add even more capabilities to this, you can start using some of the different functions like the asterisk that I talked about earlier. The asterisk just acts as a 0 or missing character. So if you know there's going to be some characters before or after, or a good example would be even in the middle of the word. So if we want govern asterisk S, we hit enter, it's going to pull back. You'll notice governments, governors, governs. It's pulling back all those different entries that have govern and then end with an S. Doesn't matter what's in between. Similar to a asterisk would be using the question mark character. You'll notice if we put that in here, it's not going to find anything. That's because a question mark is going to represent only a single character. So for example, if we wanted to do GR question mark Y, you'll notice that it pulled back everything that had GR, any letter, and then Y. So it pulled back like Grayco and also Jean Grey. We can also use square brackets. Now the square brackets are also used as kind of a wildcard for any single character, but within those you have a little more flexibility as to what's going to be contained. So an example I see used pretty often would be pulling back years. So if we want to find everything from 2016 to 2018, we can go 201 and then 6, 7, and 8, then close square bracket to pull back 2016, 2017, and 2018. Now, I did that with numbers just because it's most common, but you can certainly do that with letters as well. Another option here would be to use the dashes. So if we want to pull back everything from 2016 to 2019, but we didn't want to type in 6, 7, 8, 9, we can use the 6-9. And when we select that, you'll notice it pulls back, again, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, everything in between. So square brackets with a dash, it just basically means this through this. And we can do the same thing with letters as well, that we want to do square brackets and we just want to do everything from A to B. It'll pull back everything that has an A or a B in it somewhere within the name. Another option would be to use multiple square brackets. So if we, I'm just going to copy this in here. We want to start with a 7 and then have 0 through 9 3 times, so 4 characters in a row. You'll notice that went ahead and pulled back, that we have a 7 followed by 4 characters between 0 and 9, everything that matches that. And once again, we can also use that with letters as well. So each square bracket, open and close, is going to represent a specific range or one single letter within a range of letters. So if we're following so far, that is some of the very basic functions, the asterisk, the question mark, the square brackets. And also right now we are looking at just the entry name. So what if we wanted to search by text? And you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the tools options, and I actually want to turn on my fuzzy search. And I'm gonna set it at 2 letters. It's a pretty basic amount, making sure we're not getting too off the rails here, but we're still pulling back information we want. So let's say that I want to now search by text. That's referring to text that's been generated by the OCR function within Laserfiche. So if I type that in, if I type in Steppen, Steppen's not really anything, but it's pulling back, you'll notice Steven. So it's pulling back anything with my name on it. And you'll also notice that if we select the different hits, it's giving us the context hits in the bottom as well, showing us the information that is contained within the text. So rather than saying, yes, we found a couple hits within this document, and then having to open it up and find it, it's gonna let us know and give us a summary, sort of a snapshot to let us know, hey, are we close? Like, is this kind of what we were looking for? Is this what we expected? So as we go through and cycle through this, we can find different information. Similarly, we search for transactions. We can see once again that if there are multiple pages, every single time that the transaction word appears, it'll give us each one of those context hits. And so we can open that up and see exactly where it's pulling that from. So kind of a cool feature, search by text, can be very powerful. If things aren't named or aren't contained in the metadata that you're looking for, that doesn't mean they're lost forever. They're still available. You're still able to find them. So another option, we've done search by name, we've done search by text. We can also search fields. So what this is referring to is the fields within the different metadata. So if we open up any one of these, we can see the different fields that are going to be in here. And if we want to find a specific type of metadata, we could just type that in. So I'm actually going to use an asterisk, say there's something before it, 1654, and search. And you'll notice that it limited it down to just one returned entry, which is PO number 1654, based off my search. So the reason why this is powerful is that anytime you're looking for a specific type of metadata that may be contained on only a handful of documents that might have very similar names to others, the way that you can limit that search is by just looking for specifically metadata. So all this is great. I think we all kind of get the point of how this works. It's very similar to a Google search, where we've probably all been using searches for quite a while now. But the real power with this comes from when we want to create an actual custom search. Now, custom search can be a little intimidating at first, only because when you create it, it's going to say, all right, what do we want to call it? I'm going to call this one vendors. We're going to look for our vendors. And it's going to automatically populate this search term. That's a token that is going to come in handy later. We're going to put that somewhere within our search query. But if you're not necessarily familiar with standard query language, you don't know how to type this out, it's going to be very difficult to know how to tell Laserfiche that this is the type of information we want to pull back. I mean, if I just want to pull back all vendors, I would have to be like, okay, so squiggly bracket, square bracket, backslash, and we want to look in Laserfiche, that there's a lot that's going to go into it. So I'm going to give you guys all a tip that you can take home to help you write these. If we go up into the advanced search, now this is going to depend a little bit on which version you're running. All the same search options are going to be available, but they might just be named something slightly different. But what we can do is go in here and say that I'm looking for, first of all, I only want documents, right? So I'm going to look for name. Now the name option is going to give me entry name and document folder or shortcut. If I only want documents, I can use that. I can put an asterisk in there to say I basically want all documents. So if I were to search that right now, it would just give me all the documents. Now what I also want to do is include maybe a specific folder as well, right? So I can say within folder and say that, you know what, it's going to be within this repository and I want to find looking only inside my vendor folders. And you can use that if you missed that, you click these three little dots, these ellipses, they'll actually let me select the folder I want to look inside. So now I'm pulling back all documents within my vendor folder. To go even further, I know this can be a lot. I could spend days and days talking about all the different functionality within the custom searches, but we're just going to go with a couple today, and then maybe in another webinar I'll go a little bit deeper about all the different possibilities. But the last one I want to do here is include maybe some basic information like what type of maybe one field, and that field could be sure, account type, category. Maybe I want all accounts payable categories. Now that we have all these different things selected, we can search and notice it's only pulling back 5. The last step, and the most important, most crucial here, is going to be to include search syntax, or I think sometimes it's called advanced search or something similar. But what that's done is it's given us our search syntax within this bottom field. So we can go ahead and just Control-C, copy that. And then when we go up here into our customized quick searches, we can actually drop that in here and say that every time we run this search, it's going to bring up that exact query with all of that information and data that we already populated in there. The only thing missing now is where are we going to include the other piece? Where are we going to include the actual search term? In this case, maybe we want to do the actual name. And so we can just kind of copy that in here, but it's a %, search, term, close, and okay. So let's go ahead and close out of this, go back here. And now we can select our custom search. Make sure that we have that correct. Okay. And when we type in maybe, sorry about that. So we type in invoice, we should be able to see it come in. Of course, it's not gonna work because everyone's watching me. All right, so if we come back in here, go into our custom searches, it's gonna be looking for the name that equals this, where the type's gonna be document within financial vendor. So as long as that search term is correct, it'll actually pull back the basic information. We can always include additional information as well. So if we want to include the search term, but we also want to look at fields, we want to look at entry names, we want to look at text, you can keep that as well. And of course, we're going to get a lot of information that way. But that is how you would go ahead and create a custom search. So once you've created that and saved that, those search syntax can be saved. They can be shared across your organization. So individuals can also use that. And you can have really as many of these as you want. So the value of this is that if you find that you're looking for the same data over and over again every single day, a common one may be a specific date, right? So if you're looking for all documents that were created today or due today, you could go ahead and put in the information of, have that search option, that search term be today's date or the date. So then you can just type in today's date and find everything is due today. But that would be the real key to this, is that search term and where that's going to be. So let's go ahead and look at one more, and let's just try and get this going one more time. So rather than look in folder, we're just gonna keep this really, really simple. We want to find a, let's see if we actually can create something that has today's date or was created by today's date. Nope, what about yesterday? So there we go. So we can find, so right now you'll also notice that it's still looking at information with this as well. So we're gonna wanna actually remove that. So what we can do is take the syntax from that Laserfiche accounts payable with that date and grab all that information. Copy this, go in here, create our customized quick search, create a new one, just call it date. And we'll move that here. Let's make sure we copy our search term. That's going to be the key here. And rather than say the date is greater than or equal to today's date, it's going to be just the date equals search term. And hit OK. So now, if we're only looking by date, you should be able to go in here, type in 7/09/19. We can find the document that was actually created on 7/9/19. We have that date right there. So that'd be another common one, another one that you could use on a day-to-day. Make sure that you're actually pulling back information that's relevant. So if you are thinking outside the box here, if you want to find all invoices that are due today or all invoices that are due this month and you want to have a quick search, you can simply have invoices due on search term and then type in the date and pull back all that information. So that's how that works. So with that, I'm gonna wrap things up. If you have any questions or want to find more information, there are a wealth of resources out there. One of them being Laserfiche Answers. I've noticed that anytime you Google any Laserfiche question at all, one of the first things that comes up is a Laserfiche answer. Chances are you're not the first person who's had that question. And 99% of the time, I found out that somebody out there has had the same issue and someone else has come up with the answer and posted it publicly, so you can usually find it there. Also, the solution exchange for Laserfiche is another great one, as well as right here with Cities Digital, our peak portals is another one. If you enjoyed this, please join us for next month's webinar, which is going to be role-based security design. For this webinar, we're actually going to walk through how to set up and apply role-based security within Laserfiche. It'll help you simplify security by implementing standard security roles. And as I mentioned before, please do fill out that survey as well. If you fill that out, that will register you for a chance to win an awesome CDI mug, as seen here. And like I said, we do absolutely take any recommendations you give. If there's a specific topic that you'd like to hear, let us know, put it in the survey, and also let me know in the chat, and I'd be more than happy to bring it up. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for questions. So there should be a question option there in the little floating window there. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post those in there. Okay, so the first one is, how do you search documents that have not been labeled yet? So there's a couple different options. One of them is going to be the creation date, that by default, every document that comes in is going to have a creation date, a created by, and some other information that can actually be seen in those dropdowns. So if you were to type in the date, hypothetically, it would bring back some of that information. It may not necessarily be possible within the quick search. It may have to be an advanced search term if the quick search doesn't pull that back. But just know that every document that comes in is going to be automatically time-stamped. So you would use the date range that way. And then can you publish these saved searches out globally? Typically the searches are done, I think, by user. And I may have to take that one offline to see if it can be posted out globally. But normally, any configuration that you do within Laserfiche is going to depend on who's logged in and what their settings are at. One easy way to do that would simply be to copy the search syntax and send it to whomever may want it. But as far as publishing it and then pushing it out globally, I'm not sure that that's an option. Although I may have to get back to you on that. Sure. Good questions, guys. Awesome. So I did just hear that you can share the searches with groups on web access. So if you are using the web client, that would be a possibility. Okay, so next one. Files we need to search are big files. Our archives department not separate. So when we try and search a name, it does not show anything. We have to search page by page. So just so I'm understanding, are you saying that each page, are you saying that you're searching by text? And you're trying to find page by page via text to find out which type of actual OCR text is on which page? Or I guess, can you elaborate a little bit more? You have to open the file and look at the document itself. So when it comes to searching for something like large files, I mean, it should be able to tell you what page the search term is on. I guess the recommendation that I would give is try to be as specific as possible with that. Certainly use the some of the characters that I showed before to limit what it is you're actually looking for, but also the more detailed you can be, the better. So if it's a specific name or a specific number that you're looking for, make sure you're also using that drop down and selecting that, yes, we're searching by text, but maybe also name as well. This sounds like it may also be more of a job for the advanced search option. And if you want to reach out to our, I guess, either our support group or our consulting group here at CDI, we could probably go into a little bit more detail with your specific issue. But ultimately, you should be able to search by text, and then it'll let you know exactly what page that text is located on, and then how you'd be able to find that. And we could certainly limit that to be more detailed as well. Hundreds of pages. So when you search the name, nothing comes up. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that I'll be able to necessarily solve this over this call, but absolutely reach out to either support at Cities Digital or consulting at Cities Digital, and we'll be more than happy to connect with you, take a look, and see if we can come up with some strategies. So moving forward, you can find those. Yeah, happy to help. All good questions. Any other questions around quick search? All right, not hearing anything else. I like to try and keep these to 30 minutes. Give you guys some really powerful options of going forward with your Laserfiche journey. And I hope you enjoyed all this, got a lot out of it. Thanks again, and we will see you all next month. Appreciate it.